Hey, what's up, Life Masters? This is Stefan James from Project Life Mastery. Today I want to share with you 7 strategies for being more productive and more efficient when working from home. So right now, if you have a job and you've been forced to work from home, and it's all new for you, you've never worked from home before in your life, you've always used to having an office, coworkers, a boss that you're accountable to, I'm going to give you a lot of strategies that will help you there so you can still make sure you get your work done and you're productive and efficient. Maybe you've got your own business and you're working on it full time from home or part time on the side, or maybe you're a student and you've got your homework, your assignments coming up, a project that's due, and you're just looking for ways to be more productive and more efficient. This video is going to help you with that. I understand the challenges that come working from home, even though yes, it's great to have that comfort, the freedom to work in an environment that you're familiar with. There's challenges that come with it though. You know, it's very easy to get triggered and buy into the temptations to sit on the couch and watch TV and Netflix or watch YouTube videos or go on social media and just waste away the day, spend time doing things that aren't really moving the needle and making a difference and allowing you to get done what you want to get done. So I understand the challenges that can come with that. I've been working on from home online for over 12 years now. And there was an adaptation period of getting comfortable setting boundaries and standards and habits that I'm going to share with you to get the most out of myself and the most out of my day. And now, doing this for a long time, I'm really dialed in and optimized with this. So there's a lot of great strategies I'm going to give you right here in this video. The first one, and probably one of the most important, is to make sure that you plan out your day. Plan out your day. Ideally, plan out your week, and then each on a daily basis, you have a plan for that day. I really believe in being proactive, not reactive. If you don't have a plan for your day, you're going to easily fit into someone else's plan. And the challenge arises where a lot of people, they don't have a plan, they don't have a purpose for what they want to do that day. So they open up the computer, they check their email, they check their social media, they check their messages, they check their phone. And now they're spending the first part of the day just reacting to everyone else, responding to everyone else's demands, everyone else's urgencies of what they need from you. You're responding to them. And yes, you're reacting now and you're helping them out. But what's happening is you're missing out on what you got to be doing. You're missing out on the most important, the highest leverage actions that are really going to move the needle and make the biggest difference in your business, in your studies, in your job. And so having a plan is paramount, being proactive. And so what I like to do is before I even open the computer, before I even start the day, part of my morning ritual, I take out a journal or I take out Evernote, which is an app that I have on my phone or on my computer, and I create a plan for the day. I first start with what do I really want for this day? What do I want to accomplish? What's a goal? What's an intention that I have? Once I write that out, I get clear on why do I want that? You know, what will that give me? What's the purpose for doing this? That gives me the emotional juice behind doing what I do, right? And then what I do is I create a plan. I ask myself, what is everything that I could do to achieve this goal for this day? What is everything I could do to achieve this outcome? So I don't create just a to-do list. I create what is called a could-do list. Everything that I could do, because I want to open up my brain to other options and possibilities of achieving my goal, achieving my outcome. So I make a long list, and it doesn't mean that I have to do everything on that list that day, but it provides a lot of options because once I have that list of actions, the next important step is then to prioritize that list. So out of everything that I have, if I write down 10 things that I want to do for that day, I got to understand that not everything there is equal. Not all activities, not all actions are equal. Some of those actions are going to lead to bigger results, bigger rewards. They're going to move the needle even more than others. It's called the 80-20 principle, that 20% of what's on your list is going to equal 80% of the results. So I find a lot of people, they don't struggle as much with time management. It's more priority management, being able to prioritize what's most important on that list. And that's always what I do. I identify what's most important, and then I make sure that that is the number one thing that I want to do for that day. In fact, I often try to simplify it, and I maybe come up with 3 really important things for that day. That if I just do those 3 things, it doesn't matter if I didn't get everything else done, but those 3 things, if I do that day in, day out, is really going to make a huge difference in the results that I'm achieving in my life. Okay, so making your list, planning it out. And then I also take it a step further. I like to schedule it in my calendar. So I take out my phone, I take out my computer, I use Google Calendars or Apple Calendars, and I schedule in the blocks of time of when I'm going to dedicate my time to recording YouTube videos. Okay, or when am I going to return all those emails and phone calls. Okay, and I usually do that more later at the end of the day. Or when am I, really going to work on this project that's really important for my business? And I schedule that in. I schedule in from this time to that time, and then that way I have a plan that I can just defer to throughout the day. I can look at my plan, look at my calendar, and say, okay, 9 a.m. it's time to work on this. Okay, 10 a.m., 11 a.m. Okay, now it's time to work on this next important action, this next important project. And I schedule everything out, so I have a plan laid out in front of me. I'm being proactive, and I know if I follow that plan, I'm going to get to where I want to go. And it's not that things don't happen and change and things come up, of course. You got to be flexible. But for the most part, when I stick to my plan, a lot of good things happen from that. Okay, so that's number one. Make sure you create a plan, you write it out, you plan out your day. You're being proactive, not reactive. The second important strategy for you is to eat the frog. Eat the frog. What does that mean? That simply means that out of everything you've got for that day, you want to spend the first part of your day, the first part of your morning, working on the most important, the highest leverage thing that you got to do for that day. Okay? And the reason why you got to do that early in the day is that oftentimes our willpower wears out. If you leave something that's really, really important, really, really big, you leave it till later in the day, what happens is later in the day you get distracted. Later in the day you have less willpower. There's actually a great book called The Willpower Instinct, and it says that we only have so many units of willpower. Often it's the highest in the morning, but as the day goes on, it gets depleted. That's why often when you come home from work and you're tired and you've had a busy day already, it's a lot easier for you just to eat junk food or sit around on the couch and not be productive because you have less willpower. It's a lot harder for you to get yourself to go to the gym and do certain things because you have less willpower at that time. So that's why for me, I always do first thing in the morning, the most important thing. If it's going to the gym, I do that first thing in the morning because I know later on in the evening, less likely for me to do it. But for your business, for your career, what's the most important? What's the highest leverage thing? That by doing that and putting that time and attention first thing in the morning, you spend the first hour, 2 hours, 3 hours doing that, it's going to make a huge difference for you. And that's why I tend to leave later in the day responding to messages, emails, comments. Those are things that I can do that aren't as important. They don't require as much willpower. Okay, so eat the frog. First thing, the most important thing, do not delay, do not procrastinate with that. Make sure that you're being productive and efficient with that. The third strategy, and this is really important, a lot of people get stuck here, is eliminating distractions. Eliminate distraction. There's so many distractions working from home. It's very easy to answer phone calls. It's very easy to respond to text messages. It's very easy to check your Facebook or YouTube or your email inbox. Whatever it might be, those are all distractions. And they're taking you away from what is really the most important that you should be doing. Now, there's a good study that was done, I remember hearing a long time ago, that multitasking lowers your IQ more than smoking marijuana. Because when you're trying to multitask and do all these different things and you're distracted by the TV or distracted by other people, other things that are going on, it's going to lower your IQ, your ability to focus on one core thing. There's also another study that was done, I remember, that said that when you get into a flow state and you're in that peak of productivity, when you're in that state of flow and you're really working on something, you're in that zone, every interruption, every distraction that you have that pulls you from that, it takes you about 20 minutes for the brain to go back into that state, into that zone of flow. And if you didn't get interrupted, you wouldn't have to take that step back for 20 minutes to get back there. So it's really important to make sure that you turn off your phone, you turn off anything that would distract you from really what you got to be doing that's most important. Oftentimes, this world that we live in, there's so many distractions, everything that's always pulling for your attention, and you've really got to discipline yourself and calm the mind. And that's why for me, meditation helps, especially if you have an overactive mind, ADHD type of thing. Meditation helps you calm that mind so you don't have as many overstimulating thoughts and urges, and you're not as compulsive, I guess, to check your social media, whatever it might be. So eliminate distractions, very important. If you've got other people in your house, your family, your kids, close the door, put a sign on the door, let people know, from this time to this time, I'm working. When the door is closed, do not enter. You've got to set those boundaries so that you can be productive and make sure everyone else in your home is on board with that. Okay? So eliminate distractions, very, very important. Now, the next one is setting a timer. Setting a timer. I love this one. This one was a game changer for me. I like to work with a sense of urgency. I believe in speed of implementation. A lot of people, they're not that productive because they're too slow, to be honest with you. They just take their time working away at things, and they can spend hours doing something that someone else could get done in minutes or less than an hour. And so creating a timer, what I like to do, if I'm going to really work on a project, whether it's writing a blog post, creating videos, writing an email, whatever it might be, I set a timer, and I just take out a timer on my phone like a stopwatch, and I give myself a certain amount of time to achieve this action, this activity. And I set like a realistic time. So sometimes I might say, okay, I'm going to give myself 50 minutes to work on this blog post, okay, or 50 minutes to edit this project or to review something. When I set that timer, all of a sudden, those first few seconds, those first few minutes, as I'm working on this project, in the back of my head, I say, I only got 15 minutes to do this. So I better make sure it gets done within that time frame, because I have a deal with myself. If I don't get it done by the time that timer goes off, I just got to live with that result. I got to hit publish. I got to say it was good enough. And I got to move on to the next things I'm going to do for that day. So by just setting that timer, creating that sense of urgency, you're going to be more efficient. You're going to work faster. You're not going to be as much of a perfectionist either. Sometimes we are perfectionists and think that everything has to be perfect before we get it out there. And you might have a high standard, that's great, but at a certain point, you've got to balance, being too much of a perfectionist and worrying about things that aren't going to make as much of a difference for you. So for me, setting a timer, sometimes I say, okay, 30 minutes, 50 minutes, an hour and a half. And then usually once I'm done that task, when the timer goes off, I take a little bit of a break. I rest, I kind of meditate or go for a walk or do something to change my state a little bit before I go into the next thing, okay? So set a timer and work with speed. Success loves speed, okay? The next thing I'm going to say is to manage your emotional state and to make sure that you're in a peak state before you start the day, and as you're going throughout the day working on certain tasks and certain parts of your job. So your emotional state is going to dictate your behavior. How you feel, your emotions, is going to determine your performance. And so you got to make sure that before you start the day that you're at your best. That on a scale from 0 to 10, 10 being you're totally confident, unstoppable, creative, resourceful, you're feeling that peak emotional state, you want to be at level 10. You don't want to be at level 2 or 3 or 5. A lot of people, they don't have a ritual before they start their workday. And they're really limiting themselves by getting less out of themselves. The way I look at it, any professional athlete, any top performer, entertainer, actor, no matter who it is, before they go up to perform, they want to make sure they're at their best. And so what they always do is a ritual before that. If you look at a basketball player, they have a routine they do before the game to stretch their body, to warm up their mind, to meditate, to listen to music, to get loose. All of these things they do to make sure that they can perform at their max potential in that game. It's the same thing for you every day of your life. It's the same thing for you with the job that you have, with your business, with your studies. Do you not think that if you just spent some time beforehand to make sure that you're feeling good, to make sure that you're happy, to make sure that you're confident, to make sure that you're just feeling strong and motivated and inspired, that you're going to be able to get more out of yourself and you're going to be more productive in your job or in your business or in your studies? Of course you are. So making sure you're in a peak state is so important. I'm a big believer in having a morning ritual. I believe how you start the day is how you end the day. So I always make sure I start off the day and I exercise to loosen up my body, to turn on my mind. I do things for my health, drinking, water and stretching and my supplements, all those things to make sure that physically I'm at my best. And then I also do things for my mind. I like to feed my mind with positivity. I read affirmations, I read books, feed myself with good information. I meditate to calm my mind. There's a lot that I do there. I journal, I think about what I'm grateful for, and the same thing emotionally as well. Sometimes I put on music and I sing and I dance and I loosen myself up and I make sure I'm in a powerful state. When I do that, everything else that I have in my plan, I get more out of. I'm faster, I'm efficient, my brain is turned on, and you're ending up just being more productive just by managing your state and being in a peak. Okay, so make sure you manage your state and you really take good care of it. And by the way, if you want more information on morning rituals, I'm happy to share with you some resources I created for you. If you click the link in the description or go to www.projectlifemastery.com/cheat sheet, then you can get a free morning ritual cheat sheet from me. And I've also got other courses and resources to help you with that. Okay? The next strategy for you is to have an accountability buddy. An accountability buddy. This was a game changer for me. I found for me, as I was building my own business, one of the big challenges I had was I had no one to be accountable to. I didn't have a boss. I was my own boss. So I could easily slack. I could do, whatever I wanted to that day and waste away the day and not make any action or any progress in my business. So I found the solution to it was to get a buddy who also was in a similar situation as myself, also working from home. And right now there's a lot of people you can find and reach out to. And I said, hey, listen, I need your help with accountability. We're going to help each other. At 9 a.m. each morning, we're going to hop on a call. We'll get on Skype, we'll get on Zoom, and we're just going to have a quick 5-minute call and just get right to the point. I'm going to share with you 3 things I'm committed to achieving for that day. Okay, 3 high leverage important things that I want you to hold me accountable to. And then you can share with me 3 things of what you're going to commit to for that day as well. And then we're going to go about the day. We're going to go about the day, and then we're going to touch base again at the end of the day, hop on another call, and we're going to debrief. We're going to ask each other, did you do what you said you're going to do? If the answer is yes, great, awesome, congratulations, let's reinforce that. If the answer is no, why? What happened? What can you learn from that? How can we make sure that you get back on track tomorrow? And that debrief allows you to get better and to grow and to be more productive the next day. Okay, so it's a simple thing, doesn't take more than 10 minutes to do each day. You just need someone else that you can be accountable to, a coach, a friend, anyone else that can help you be accountable to make sure that you do follow through. The last strategy that I have for you is to reward yourself. Reward yourself at the end of the day for being productive. You see, whatever gets rewarded gets repeated. And so whenever you had a great productive day, when you reward yourself, you're more likely to build those habits moving forward in your life in the future, and you get better and better and better and better. You see, a lot of people, what they do, they don't have a productive day, or it wasn't up to their standard, they weren't perfect with it, and they beat themselves up. They give themselves a lot of pain, they're frustrated, they're angry, they're upset. All that's doing is teaching your brain, why even try? Why even do this? Because here I did, I attempted to, be productive this day, but all I'm getting is pain for even trying. And before you know it, you go to a mode of learned helplessness where you don't even try or start anything because you've already linked so much pain to doing that. Instead, you've got to acknowledge yourself for what you did do well that day. You got to acknowledge yourself, you got to reinforce it, you got to pat yourself on the back. I like to, set up for that day, okay, all the things I wanted to do and enjoy, I can do that, but it has to be later in the day as a reward for a productive day. So later in the evening time, that's the time to play video games. That's the time to watch your Netflix series. That's the time to spend with loved ones and friends and to connect and do those things, those indulgences that are pleasurable for you. That's the reward for a productive day. You don't do that earlier in the day. You make sure you set yourself up and say, okay, I'm going to be productive, and then later I'm going to reward myself by doing whatever you want to do. Okay? So when you do that and when you acknowledge yourself and reinforce it, you're going to be setting yourself up for more success and more productive days in the future. So those are my strategies for you. Hopefully this is helpful for you and helps you be more productive, more efficient in building your business, in your studies, or working from home. And I'll let you know it's a process. It takes time to get used to it, to get adapted to it. I often try to set up a different environment in my home where it's just for work. So it's not in the bedroom. It's not, for places that are more pleasurable for me. I set an environment for that. Have those distractions, set that plan, do everything I shared with you here, and I have no doubt that you'll be even more productive than you were before. So thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment below. If you have any hacks or strategies that have been helpful for you, I want to know what that is. Leave a comment below and share that, please. Subscribe here for more videos on Project Life Mastery. And by the way, if you're looking for ways to work from home by making money online, then I want to share with you a free course that you can access below just by putting in your name and email address. And I'll share with you 7 different business model opportunities that you can profit from working from home. So if you go to www.projectlifemastery.com/free course, you can access this, or click the link below in the description Hope you enjoy that. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you again soon.